is Senator Ruane, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Minister, for your time today. I suppose I'm not going to be overly cynical of the budget. I have some things that I will speak positively about, but maybe with a bit of a caution on them in terms of how they'll work in terms of implementation of them. But I suppose I would just like to start by noting that, I always struggle not to get upset around this time of year. Being a community worker and someone that's worked in addiction and worked with poverty, I always remember the fear of budget time in communities of deprivation. And, when I hear language such as, there's something for everyone, there's only really something for everyone if you're starting from a basis of some sort of stability in your life. If your life is so far in the red in terms of your health, in terms of your poverty, in terms of your house falling down around you. I work with people with holes in their walls, with mould in their house, addiction and problem alcohol use. Just increased so much during the years of austerity that even though it might look like there's something for everyone, if you're so far in deficit in your own self and your health and your community, it actually doesn't feel like anything at all. So it's about just being mindful of that, I suppose, when we talk about that somebody will benefit in any particular way from something. I would like to, I suppose, kind of add that on to the whole USC thing, and in the areas that I talk about in relation to the community sector, how I would much have preferred to see no cut in the USC and see that targeted towards the most vulnerable groups. I think they're marginal benefits for individuals, but they would make a big impact for groups as a whole. I welcome the increase in higher education and the capital spend and the National Training Fund levy. I think that the capital grants were such a loss to the university sector, and I think especially as we don't know what the landscape looks like after Brexit in relation to FDI or research and development, we definitely need to be able to expand the university the infrastructure so that we can entice research and development into the country in the wake of Brexit. The ring fence and increase, I suppose, of the National Training Fund is hugely welcomed. Although I kind of then was stopped in my tracks by the next sentence by Minister O'Donoghue when he said the central role that employers would play in this. I suppose this would be a red flag for me, although I welcome the increase. I think allowing employers have a strong hold on the curriculum and on the way courses will develop, like it can become very specialised in particular areas of the labour market. You might see arts and humanities and other things fall down if employers have too much of an input. It's likely to result in a push for more specialisation to meet existing labour market needs, when broader, more flexible entry-level courses is what needed to improve student retention and to tackle dropout. Employers already are a partner in the education sector, and increased influence would lead to unfair industrial balance between employers and employees and unions. And focus on employers is likely to be on their particular graduate needs over an individual personal development to which college is vital. So I think it's just about striking a balance and maybe having more conversations around exactly what a central role for employers look like in the National Training Levy. Another thing I had would just flag, and maybe it's something that you can follow up with me in relation to the key employee engagement programme, which I think is shortened to KEEP today. And I understand the logic in encouraging employee financial participation due to the positive effect on increasing competitiveness and staff retention. However, I'm concerned a little bit about what this means in relation to tax relief. So if we begin to tax shares and stocks differently, does this then incentivise employers or employees to be paid more of their wage in stocks and shares? So say someone's on €200,000, they then decide that they want to be paid a large portion of that in stocks and shares instead of actual gross annual income. So is there a bit of room there to erode away at the tax base, and how will this be monitored? In relation to lone parents, obviously I welcome any increase in the area of lone parents, but what has to be critiqued is the fact that the Department of Social Protection and Employment Affairs only yesterday published the Indicon independent review of the amendments to the one-parent family payment since January 2012. This should have been published weeks ago, so that it could have informed the budget, and I understand it was supposed to be presented to the Oireachtas on September the 19th, and I think the Department really missed the boat in terms of really addressing poverty in lone families and working families. Although the figures show in the report that there is more working families, but they are still living in deprivation and poverty, and this report would have been detrimental to being able to address that fully in the budget this year. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Senator Ruane. 5 minutes exactly to the second, so thank you very much for that.